Good morning. I'm Kathy Miller, president of the Texas Freedom Network. We're a nonpartisan, nonprofit organization representing 30,000 Texans across the state. We support religious freedom and quality public education for Texas students. I came today for two important reasons. One, to set the record straight, and two, to make a couple of important recommendations as you move forward after today. To set the record straight, I've heard no one, and certainly not myself or the Texas Freedom Network, suggest that the social studies teachers exclude the role of faith in our nation's founding or history. And I want to applaud the writing teams for acknowledging the influence of faith on our founders and on our nation's culture and history. But I also want to applaud them for respecting religious freedom for all by rejecting pressure to portray the United States as favoring one religious faith over all others. To do otherwise would have aided in teaching bad history and promoted an un-American principle. I want to say that it would be devastating for citizens and for our future character of our state and nation to exclude information on the critical principle of the separation of church and state from the curriculum, or to deny it, or to suggest it's a myth. To do so would skew students' understanding of a principle that is bedrock to our nation and secures us as being unique as a government. That's setting the record straight. I also want to encourage you as you move forward beyond today, and I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I think it's the third time I've come here to implore you. As amendments are introduced into the curriculum standards that make substantive changes, please consult with the classroom teachers and genuine subject matter experts from our colleges and universities who will get these students once they cross the stage in cap and gown, to be sure that what's being recommended around this table corresponds with what genuine scholarship on American history or government or any of these social studies standards suggests. In recent curriculum adoptions, we've seen late amendments completely change the character of some of our curriculum standards, and board members have not even been permitted to talk with the experts that they've appointed. And I just want to encourage you that as you make changes to this curriculum standard, if they change substance, to be sure you consult with educators and experts, because 4+ million students from kindergarten through graduation will be learning American history, Texas history, government, and the other social studies subjects for the next decade based on the decisions that you make. It will shape the character of our nation, and we should consult with subject matter experts before we make substantive changes. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Ms. Miller? Mrs. Cargill.
Hi, Kathy.
Hello.
I wanted to make sure and ask if you understand that, at least for me, any time that I make a not making it to represent myself, I have consulted with lots of people in my, quote, spare time between meetings, so I just want to make sure that you understand that you do.
I appreciate.
There's nothing last minute at all. It's all very, well looked into and researched and et cetera, and I just want to clear that for the record.
I assume that you're speaking about yourself, right?
I'm speaking about myself,
yes.
And I would imagine most of my colleagues, because, we do understand that the stakes are very high for our students.
I didn't want to suggest that you don't understand that, but I do recall there being times when board members have actually asked if they could talk with experts that they've appointed, and that's kind of been like, no, we're done with that. So I just want to reiterate that I think that at any point, if a board member would like to hold off on voting on an amendment until they have that opportunity, because of course you all haven't seen every amendment that will be introduced. So while I absolutely believe that you've talked with experts in your community, you may even hear an amendment that you didn't know was coming and might want to take that extra time to consult with someone to be certain.
Well, I'm definitely all about putting them out there, and we do have access to our experts. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Mr. Bradley.
I might get, maybe an answer could come from Mr. Oberby or even our former state legislator that sits on the board, but here we hash it all out, and I can't think of one time in the legislature when they're on the floor debating a bill and amendments are going to be made, and let's say it's even over education policy, that a member of the legislature says, well, wait a minute, I see Mr. Scott sitting up there in the gallery. Can we bring him down and ask him some questions? Because I just want him to clarify a few things. I don't think that's ever happened in the legislature. So the issue is really a challenge to our process. And we follow our process. It's an established process.
Is there a question, Mr. Bradley?
To the member, our former state legislature, do you ever remember during a debate in the legislature in a decision time that they broke and stopped and brought in an expert to consult?
Would the member like to answer that question?
I do remember times when there was debate when there's outside of the State House area, it's called the lobby, where lobbyists do come out for questions. However, it would be improper. If they're in a session, I would think for the board to go meet and actually talk to, if this is the word lobby, then how to vote in a certain area, that'd be improper. We have to be very, very cautious on that because we're elected up here, we're elected officials, we've had the information to make decisions. So if that's the response, we have to be very careful about this because we are elected officials. And does that answer the question?
I would like to actually address that.
Not a question.
Ms. Miller, I think procedurally, the committee of the full board is the time when our body discusses all of these. That's the opportunity for full discussion among board members. Board members have the ability at any time to call, email, seek someone from the audience, and speak privately with whomever they wish. Procedurally, on Friday, when votes are taken, we do not call people up from the audience. So that portion of our rules will not change, but I think it's very well taken that one should always do one's homework. One should be a well-versed board member in the matters that come before us, and I appreciate your reminder that we should do our homework and have consulted with constituents from a wide variety of backgrounds to ensure that the items we offer can be supported factually and are appropriate for where they're made.
And that amendments be pre-filed like in the legislature so that that kind of consultation can happen?
There are situations in which we allow members to have access to material that will be presented. I appreciate those comments.
Thank you.
The process will be addressed separately, but we are dealing specifically with the Texas Essential Knowledge and Skills. Are there other questions for Ms. Miller? Thank you very much.
Thank you.